Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here because we are about to explore a concept that, well, it might initially seem entirely counterintuitive, maybe even a little daunting. But I promise you, understanding this is literally one of the most powerful ways to supercharge your daily life. We're diving into an ancient philosophy derived from the incredibly insightful source text 12 Steps to a Good Life by Thomas Aletheia. Specifically, we're focusing on Memento Mori, meaning the contemplation of your own death. This ancient practice is presented not as a morbid fascination, but as a highly practical tool for living. By intentionally reflecting on the finite nature of your time on Earth, you are motivated to put your practical affairs in order, abandon trivial resentments, and live each day with acute meaning and purpose. So let's jump right in. So, what if the secret to a good life is contemplating your death? I know, it's a pretty provocative hook. For most of us, our brains are hardwired to equate uncertainty with danger. And let's face it, death is the ultimate uncertainty. It's terrifying, but the source material makes a really profound point here. Running from this reality, it doesn't actually save us. It just makes us relentlessly anxious. Facing it, on the other hand, is the ultimate catalyst for personal transformation. Here's our quick roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll kick things off with the paradox of mortality, then move into defining Memento Mori. From there, we roll up our sleeves and get highly practical with ordering your practical affairs, abandoning trivial resentments, creating acute meaning, and finally, we'll cover the final transition. All right, section 1, the paradox of mortality. As human beings, we instinctively want to just, completely avoid the reality of our own dissolution. But when we run from reality, we actually end up taking the morbid view. We end up suffocating in these tiny, rigid boxes of our own making, completely trapped in avoidance and despair. But take a look at the practical view. Embracing the reality of our finite time, it actually injects this massive dose of vitality, clarity, and an incredible sense of urgency into our daily choices. You literally stop drifting and start steering the ship. Moving right along to section 2, defining Memento Mori. Memento Mori translates directly from Latin to remember that you must die. Now, the author strongly stresses that this isn't some dark, gothic fascination. Not at all. It's a crucial, urgent wake-up call to put your practical affairs in order, ditch those trivial resentments, and live each and every day with acute meaning. Think about how many of us are just living in the meantime, just waiting for real life to magically start while delaying what actually needs to be done. Memento Mori steps in and says, stop delaying. Start living purposely today, because today is quite literally all you actually have. Which brings us to section 3, ordering your practical affairs. Okay, this is where the rubber really meets the road. Look, I completely get it. Nobody wakes up excited to buy life insurance or organize legal paperwork. But let me just ask you directly. Right now, if you died tomorrow, are your partner, your kids, your family actually taken care of? Do you have life insurance? The text insists that no matter what your economic status is, you absolutely can and should see to these matters. It's not just admin work. It is a profound, loving act of taking responsibility for your finite time. Let's look inward now with section 4, abandoning trivial resentments. We really have to confront the massive, tragic waste of time that comes from holding on to anger. Just look at this quote. Resentment is the poison you drink, hoping someone else will die. The author notes that resentment is basically long-haul anger. It doesn't just burn, it actively corrodes you. If our lives are finite, and spoiler alert, they are, why on earth would we spend our precious, strictly limited energy drinking poison? Holding on to past grievances totally blocks your spiritual growth and just drains the joy right out of your present moments. And resentment isn't just about holding a classic grudge against someone who wronged you. The text reveals these hidden, toxic categories of resentment you might not even realize you're engaging in. Things like manipulating others to do your will, subtle character assassination, acting superior to fill an emotional void, or trying to constantly control the people around you. These are all just exhausting, ego-driven conflicts. When you truly remember that you must die, you suddenly realize just how much of your finite time you are wasting on these petty behaviors. You've just got to let them go. That clears the way for section 5, creating acute meaning. Letting go of all that anger magically clears the space for a brilliant concept called epictasis. The text uses this really striking metaphor here. Think about a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. To the caterpillar, that dramatic transformation probably feels exactly like dying, right? It's the end of literally everything it knows. But actually, scratch that. It's an unceasing evolution into something incredibly beautiful. Facing our mortality is very similar to that.
It's about consciously participating in an endless, beautiful transformation where every single action you take actively contributes to your growth. And make no mistake, that growth is a highly active process. As the renowned psychiatrist Viktor Frankl famously wrote, and this is heavily anchored in our source material, the meaning of life is to give life meaning. Purpose isn't just something you're going to randomly stumble upon while scrolling on your phone. No way. It is intentionally forged through your daily actions, your ethical choices, and your fierce commitment to living well today. Flowing straight from Frankl, we hit this incredibly poetic medieval reminder from the dance macabre. To death we are hastening, let us refrain from sinning. Now, don't let the archaic wording throw you off here. Convert it into your own modern terms. The core message is intensely urgent and entirely universal. Death is coming for us all. So live virtuously. Live a good, meaningful life right now. Don't wait until you're on your deathbed to suddenly wish you had been a kinder, better person.
And finally, Section 6, the final transition.
If you've taken the steps, if you've ordered your affairs, abandoned your toxic resentments, and actively created meaning, the end of life is no longer this terrifying black abyss. It becomes the natural culmination of the beautiful life you've built. Think about the number 10,000 for a second. The source material teaches a super profound lesson here. How you experience your final moment on Earth isn't just some random coin toss. It is the direct result of the 10,000 small, everyday decisions you made leading up to it. If you spend your whole life in bitterness and distraction, your end is going to reflect exactly that. But if you live each day with acute purpose and intention, you get to approach that final moment with real dignity and peace.
The author uses the metaphor of the river Styx, the ancient mythological boundary between the world of the living and whatever lies beyond. We are all on a journey toward that exact boundary. And our task today? It isn't to solve the grand metaphysical mysteries of the afterlife. Our task today is simply to travel that road with dignity, with a highly well-ordered life, and with a heart completely free of toxic resentments. So, I want to leave you with this incredibly stark, provocative question to chew on. Your life consists of moments. You are trading your moments right now for something, whether that's anger, misery, useless distraction, or hopefully joy and useful toil. What will you trade your remaining moments for? I challenge you to stop living on autopilot. Use the contemplation of your death as the ultimate tool to live with acute meaning, starting right this second. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.